Respite Care Luncheon. We're so glad you're here. Come on in.
Hello and welcome to the Respite Care Luncheon. My name is Abby Lochner and I'm the Community Engagement Officer at Respite Care. Today we will be sharing stories that highlight the purpose and impact of our mission. We are so grateful to have so many of you tuning in. We'd like to start by thanking our marketing sponsor, Lightsource Creative, who dreamed up our graphics and made the theme for today's event. And to our film studio sponsor, Embassy Suites Loveland, who provided filming space.
And I'm Lauren Wynot, Development Director at Respite Care. Thank you to our table hosts, our storytellers today, our sustainable funding team, and our board of directors for all of the planning and prep that you put into today's event. We're also so grateful to our volunteers, our team, and our families, and everybody who helped to make today possible. We are so grateful to each and every one of you for tuning in. Thank you for helping us make Respite Care better together. And now for a word from our Executive Director, Leanne Massey.
Hello, I am Leanne Massey, the Executive Director of Respite Care. Thank you so much for joining us today. A year ago today, I was sitting at my dining room table working from home. I was nervous and optimistic at the same time. We were only 2 days away from Respite Care's first virtual event. I'll be honest, I was worried. How was it going to go? Would people show up? Of course, my thoughts were not only on the virtual luncheon, but about how Respite Care would be able to meet our family's needs in the approaching summer. How would we keep our children and team safe? Would we be able to provide all the care that families would need? Little did I know that what lay before us was not only a few months. Personally, the experience of this past year revealed just how important it is to have peace of mind that my family is safe, to have opportunities to be connected with the ones I love, and that even the simplest enrichment activities, like going to the movies, to a restaurant, or an event, are not to be taken for granted. I realize that for families with children with developmental disabilities, concerns about safety, inclusion, and missing out are not siloed to a pandemic. When you have a child with a disability, these are often lifelong worries that can feel isolating. Respite Care is here so that families don't have to go it alone. This past year has gifted me many, many lessons, but the biggest one for me is that no matter what, the love that surrounds Respite Care does not waver. Even though we had to be physically apart, we never felt alone. When we put out the call for masks for our staff members to wear while working with our kids, our community stepped up. Many of you watching today spent hours making homemade masks for Respite Care so that our children could be safe. Thank you. Our child care specialists came to work ready to make a kid's day. Respite Care continued to be a place where kids can have enriching experiences while engaging with peers. To our team, I cannot thank you enough for your grit, dedication, and the love for our kids. Families rallied with us during our temporary closure last spring. When we opened back, they were so supportive when we had to change our programs often and quickly in order to keep Respite Care safe. Above all, one thing that a pandemic, an economic crisis, or anything else cannot shake is the fact that this community continues to show up for each other. There is some wisdom from Mr. Rogers that in times of crisis, look for the helpers. There will always be helpers. Well, I never had to look very hard for our helpers. I am so proud that with our community's help, Respite Care was able to provide specialized care when families needed it the most. When families were facing the huge challenge of trying to engage their children with remote learning while at the same time working from home, Respite Care found a way to provide on-site remote learning with the help of our local school districts. We had to be sure that families did not have to make a choice between a paycheck and providing care for their children. Respite Care also served as a space where children could safely interact with others, making sure they would not miss out on important social supports. Thank you to our Respite Giving Society and all of you who have continued to make Respite Care a reality for families. We are grateful for you, our helpers. All that said, we know we have a long way to go. As you can imagine, many of our children have compromised immune systems. In order to give our families peace of mind, we will continue our enhanced safety measures for as long as we need to keep our children safe. This includes additional training for staff, maintaining a child care ratio of 1 staff for every 2 to 3 children, and utilizing our building and space in creative ways. Our child care specialist team is the best of the best. However, you may have heard that it is increasingly challenging to recruit part-time employees in many sectors. This is especially true in child care. We need to make sure that Respite Care has the resources to preserve a robust strategy for recruiting and retraining our highly trained staff. We have long-term plans to be here for all families who need us now and in the future. We need to maintain our 17-year-old building so that it is always safe and well-equipped to welcome families. But we also need to be prepared to grow so we may serve all the families who will need us in the years to come. I'm proud to say that when I was working at my dining room table a year ago, preparing for our first virtual event, I didn't need to worry. Our community showed up, just like you always do. The event raised critical funding we needed, even if it was about half of what we would normally raise at this event in person. It was with your help that we found ways to provide childcare in a safe environment, and we made sure families could continue to rely on us. I don't need to tell you that this community is special. It doesn't surprise me at all that over the last year, we found ways to support each other, stay connected, and stay inspired. My dream is that in our community, no family raising a child with a developmental disability will ever have to go it alone. That every family will have peace of mind that they can bring their children to respite care where they will be in caring, competent hands. That with access to affordable, specialized care, they too will have the opportunities to rest, work, and even get away once in a while. That no child will miss out on the enriching experiences of having social activities designed to embrace their abilities while keeping them safe. Together, we can make sure that respite care is always a reality for our families. I stand here today feeling hopeful, grateful, and optimistic about our future. I hope you will also feel, as I do, that even though we were all apart from each other this past year, we were never truly alone. We worked together, we hoped together, and we stuck together to get here today, and I know that we are emerging even better together. I'm excited to share the next video produced by Listo Pictures. Then you'll hear from 2 parents about their respite experiences. Thank you.
When Chen was born, it wasn't obvious that anything was wrong. She was slightly premature and slightly underweight, but nothing like noticeable. But then she wasn't hitting her milestones. It was definitely like a shift in perspective for like what the future was going to be. Like early on, we're like, okay, well, we're gonna have this kid. She's gonna grow up. She's gonna have her own kids. She's gonna be professional. She's gonna go to college. She's gonna do all the things that kids do, and we're gonna have other kids after that. And not only did we get the diagnosis that she wasn't gonna be okay and that she was gonna be a lifelong person who needed to be taken care of, but also that we weren't gonna be able to have any other kids after that, and that was really kind of devastating. And we did all the genetic tests, and like they had no way of identifying what was actually wrong. So they gave her the sort of generic diagnosis of multiple moderate disabilities, her gross motor skills, fine motor skills. 4 years ago, she also got the autism diagnosis.
They said that they have markers and signs of him possibly having Down syndrome.
I could kind of tell when Chad came in the recovery room that something was up. And when he had told me that, my initial reaction was, I was scared. And I just felt more heartbroken for what CJ would have to endure possibly, medically. And I didn't want my child to have to do those things.
Everything looked completely normal, but when he was born, we did notice he had extra digits on his fingers. He didn't change at all from the 6-month period to the 9-month period. So we wind up doing an MRI right before he turned 1. That was traumatizing for me. He actually has a super rare condition called schizencephaly, and it's like 1 in 65,000, along with lesencephaly pachygyria. And it's just where the cells didn't grow in the brain.
When Tyson was first born, she was a stay-at-home mom. With all the needs that Tyson has, I don't know if she could go to work.
Then early on, we had some people in our family who could help watch her, like when she was really little, but they've all gotten like elderly now. And so like we really don't have anybody around there, and it's really hard to find a babysitter who's like willing to work with a kid with disabilities because the challenge is so great.
It was very normal for her to throw tantrums anytime she had to have human contact with anyone. The weekends were always this like, okay, here we go, no support, okay, full day of being a parent and, being engaged, and then no break for us, and then we go back to work.
He was going to regular daycares, but he needed a little bit more. And his drive has always been there. He just really needed the additional tools to help him apply those.
He is so more likely to fall and hit his head. He is so much more likely to just trip. You put him in a normal toddler room, everybody else is running around. He's getting trampled on. He's getting missed because he's sitting on the floor and can't keep up. So then it's just, I felt like discouraging and not allowing him to fully have the care and ability to succeed in life.
When he came home on oxygen. And so there was a lot of care required. And even though Chad and I felt like we could be super parents and do it all, eventually we kind of were like, this is hard. We can't do this all by ourselves.
So, I mean, you don't know what you don't know until someone, had the compassion to reach out to us.
There was really only one place we trusted to bring CJ, and that was respite care.
So Cheyenne came here when she was a rock, like when she was in elementary school, 4th grade, and she's now moved on to the Boulder program. And in the Boulder program, she's with peer groups late middle school and high school, where there's more teen-appropriate activities. So it's like, there's video games and music and air hockey. It's hard to have friends, because she's special needs, like in the neighborhood or just like naturally occurring. So it's nice that there's a place where she can gather with people at her same like ability level. And it's really nice to have her have that community experience, of being around other teenagers doing teenage stuff in a healthy environment here at Respite Care.
Being a Boulder, she is treated more like a teenager, and there are expectations that she then has to kind of rise to, and that's really good for her development.
We're very active in athletics with our older sons, Jordan and Nate.
As much as CJ loves those things, he doesn't love sitting there for 9 hours a day. And so respite for us gave us the opportunity to focus on our 2 other children at their events and their athletic games that sometimes we weren't able to do because we're constantly caring for CJ.
CJ loves coming here, and that for us tells us everything we need to know.
Nobody can take care of their child as good as a mom can, but I feel very good when I drop CJ off here. I know he's gonna be loved. I know he's gonna be cared for. I know he's gonna have an amazing day every time he comes here. And I think peace of mind is what I have gained as a mom.
Respite is built for a kid in a walker. It is built for a kid in a wheelchair.
I know he's getting taken care of. I know he's also getting taught and, helping him progress.
It brings my heart so much joy because he's so happy here that he's getting nourished and he's just blooming like this beautiful flower. Without respite, I don't think his personality would be as bright as it is.
It has completely changed child care.
When we heard that all these kids are being taken for a camping trip away from home for a week, that was amazing, knowing that all that work and all that care is going to go into taking these kids up there. And then of course the effect of her coming back, and saw that her self-care skills got better, as well as her verbal skills, because the expectation was higher of, hey, we're all out here adjusting to a more difficult situation. And that's really great, and it's really developing.
All kinds of activities and hiking and climbing up rocks, and it's definitely been a story of her coming out of her shell. And it's now, because she's had so much support and been around so many people, she can actually talk about her day and have conversations and socialize and actually be a part of the community, and that's been very positive.
He loves the music, he loves the yoga, he loves everyone that he comes into touch with every day. He just loves this place.
This is a place where he belongs. This is a place where he gains independence and socialization and has friends and feels comfortable and confident, this is just a place where he can be CJ.
Tyson's excelling so much here. It's so refreshing to know that he's getting what he needs at all times while we're doing what we can and have to do to provide for him.
There's this genuine engagement, genuine joy. I can see that it's very intentional to put in that energy and that emotional energy every day, every moment, and I'm extremely thankful for that. Affordable childcare for not special needs kids is through the roof. So to have affordable childcare with this level of quality, it's amazing. You can say that schools are very supportive and that's wonderful, but Respite Care really stands out as kind of a jewel of the city of taking care of these kinds of children and really showing that commitment.
Hi, my name is Kelly Martin, and my husband Jerry and I are proud Respite parents. I'd like to tell you a bit about my amazing 5-year-old Susie. Susie embodies the phrase sugar and spice more fully than any other human I have ever met. She's an immensely silly, adventurous, happy, and loving child. Her exuberance and curiosity bring a light to all those she is around. However, she is also not lacking in opinion or sass and is not afraid to make sure you are aware of it. Susie also happens to have 9q34 duplication syndrome. There are only 23 documented cases in medical literature. For Susie, this means she is primarily nonverbal and struggles significantly with basic expressive communication. She is incredibly hyperactive, fast, and a talented escape artist. Many parents worry about their kids getting lost, but when your child can't consistently say their name or where they live or look for traffic, those fears loom larger. When Susie was diagnosed at just 3 weeks old, my brother gave me some wonderful advice. He told me that Susie's experience of the world is going to be different than the one we know. That being on her journey comes with the opportunity to see the world in a way we couldn't without her perspective. That truly encapsulates the way Respite approaches our kids. They honor and value them as children, as people, and the opportunity that comes along with exploring the world with them. I have never heard a member of Respite Care refer to a child from a deficit perspective or focus on the things that they can't do. There are enough influences in the world that tell us that over and over. Respite focuses on the things that make kids flourish, and it allows us as parents to do the same. Every time I hear Susie speak, it feels like a victory. One of the few phrases Susie has right now is "good job." When she does say it, it is typically shouted at full voice and in celebration of her own accomplishments. It makes me so happy to know that that is what is ingrained in her, what stays with her. Yes, it's what she hears at home, but is also what she hears at Respite. The reinforcement she gets from the people around her is that she should be proud of every achievement, because that is the world this community has made for her. That is how she sees herself and her progress. Respite's dedication to their community was particularly vital in this year of COVID. When the world shut down last March, that included Respite Care for about 5 weeks. We had many of the same fears as most. How will this affect my child's learning and impact her socially, emotionally, mentally? But our child does not look at screens. I have tried begging her to watch Frozen, something which confuses most other parents. So, to put it mildly, virtual instruction was a challenge. And amid all the other uncertainties was the concern about the gap between her and her peers continuing to widen. Because of Susie's needs and behavior, there is also no please play quietly while mommy and daddy work. My husband and I worked in shifts while also trying to be engaged parents and support her learning and speech and developmental needs and even shower on occasion. It meant that we worked 20-hour days every day that school and Respite were closed. Then Respite reopened and did it safely to protect their already vulnerable population. When Susie went back, she'd break into applause when we told her it was time to go. Staff seemed equally excited and kept commenting on what a wonderful job Susie was doing with her sign language, and then dove right into asking us about strategies so that they could replicate them. That first day, I cried so hard on the way home, I had to pull over. The reminder of growth with the look of pride on Susie's face helped me to stop seeing all the things I hadn't done well enough for the things we had. They did all this while taking on distance learning and new protocols and risks to their own health and safety to continue to better the lives of the children and the families they work with. It is not hyperbolic to say that we would not have made it through this without you. I would not have been able to keep my job or my sanity. I would not have remembered to stay focused on Susie's joy, to linger in the hugs, to celebrate every word and every sign. Please understand, respite is not just a daycare. Respite is not just a solution that means the basic mechanics of everyday life are doable for us. It is the possibility of a fuller life. It is knowing that Susie and her way of being are valued and honored. It is letting go of the worry about whether or not she'll get to have a sleepover or go to prom, because respite makes that happen. Respite means I can spend less time in the very real fears of the world I live in to spend more time with Susie and hers. So, to respite, in the words of our sweet girl, good job.
My name is Rhonda Lindenfeld, and I'm a single mom to two amazing boys, Trey, who is 15, and Breck, who is 11. During Breck's first year of life, in addition to his huge smile and always happy disposition, we began to notice delays. He wasn't able to sit up by himself, had difficulties eating, didn't coo or babble, and wasn't meeting developmental milestones. As he grew, his body struggled to coordinate the motions needed for him to walk, run, and climb stairs. He began speech and occupational therapy, and at the age of 2.5 was diagnosed with childhood apraxia of speech. Apraxia is a rare neurological disorder where the brain is unable to communicate with the mouth to form sounds. A motor planning disorder, this diagnosis also affected his ability to process step-by-step information and control his impulses. Day-to-day tasks were mastered only after years of repetition and therapy. As Breck grew older, frustrations with not being able to adequately express himself, struggles to regulate his emotions, along with an added diagnosis of sensory processing disorder, created safety concerns and a need for more specialized childcare. In May of 2017, we were at a crossroads, a time that it had become clear that Breck, up until now, had been lovingly cared for in an in-home daycare center, needed more. As a full-time working single mother, I was nervous and afraid. We were lost. Where would I find a place that he could be loved, protected, and nurtured? Who could provide the one-on-one attention he was now requiring to keep both himself and all those around him safe? The thought of sending him to a new environment when he was almost completely nonverbal was frightening to me. Thankfully, this is when we were welcomed into the Respite Care family. Breck joined Respite Care that same month, and it quickly became one of his favorite places. We immediately knew that Respite Care was exactly what our family needed. From the moment we walked through the doors to the present day, the staff have been welcoming, encouraging, comforting, and Breck's biggest cheerleaders. To Breck, Respite is his place, and he will tell you so. Now, at the age of 11, he typically communicates using 2 to 3 word phrases. However, one few sentence he does have, "Do I have respite tomorrow?" has easily become the most frequently heard phrase in our house, emphasizing its importance to Breck. Being at Respite has increased Breck's self-esteem and confidence, has encouraged his creative side, created friendships for him, and given him opportunities to be a leader. Every milestone has been celebrated. Breck loves going on field trips, especially pool days, and overcame a fear of animals and horses after attending 2 horse camps. Respite encourages him to try new things, arts and crafts, dancing, yoga. However, if you know Breck, you know his personal favorite is a game of basketball or dodgeball in the gym. I have been told that working a shift with Breck can make staff sleep well that night. Connections Breck has made through Respite have spilled into our day-to-day lives. He finds people all over town that he has met at Respite, including volunteers, art, music, and animal therapists, and he lovingly calls out to each one of them as my friend. Last summer, Breck played on a baseball team. He wanted to invite staff to come watch. He invited and they came. They came in groups of all sizes during their personal time to cheer him on. Over the last 4 years, a community has been formed for Breck and our family. A community that celebrates Breck and all of his abilities. A community that would not have been made possible without respite care. As a parent, respite provides me comfort knowing Breck is safe, cared for, and nurtured. Without respite, I would not be able to work a job that I love and that I've had for over 25 years. As a single mother, respite provides me the opportunity to spend one-on-one time with his older brother, attending school functions or other events that typically cause Breck discomfort. Last but not least, respite allows me an opportunity to rest and recharge. We don't know what the future holds for Breck, and there will be many hurdles to overcome. But one thing is definite: we have found a community for him. A community that accepts him, challenges him, stands behind him, and loves him for all that he is. We truly are so much better together. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly and Rhonda, for sharing your powerful stories. Hi, my name is Russell Baker. I'm a past board member of Respite Care, and I'm excited to have the opportunity to speak with you all today. My time on the board came at a unique time in my personal life. When I joined the board, my wife and I had no kids. During my 6-year tenure, we went from no kids to having 2 very energetic kiddos of our own. Let's just say our appreciation for childcare support grew dramatically during that period of time. I'm sure every parent watching today can relate to the fact that there are moments where my wife and I look at each other wondering how we'll make it. How we'll make it to the next nap, how we'll make it to the next meal, sometimes how we'll make it to school. Then enter COVID. I imagine you were like us, and after a few weeks of quarantine and homeschool, you were ready to do anything to give your child some social interaction, see family, or just get a day of respite. Of course, Kate and my challenges pale in comparison to many of those that respite families are dealing with and navigating every day. And COVID has only magnified those challenges. I believe respite care is a critical support system for our families in the best of times. And today it's only that much more critical to the well-being of kids with disabilities and their families. The need for respite care in our community will always be there. Today, Susie is 5 years old. Her family will still need respite care when she is Breck's age. And there will be more families like Breck's and Susie's who don't know they need respite care today, but will in the future. Therefore, it is my privilege to ask you for your support in this ongoing work so that we can be sure that respite care is strong for families now and remains strong far into the future. If you have been inspired by the stories you've heard today, I ask you to join together in securing stability and growth for respite care. As you consider how you may play a role in making respite a reality for families, please note that donations to respite care qualify for the 50% Colorado Child Care Contribution Tax Credit. The example shown illustrates how this tax credit, along with state and federal deductions, can reduce your final out-of-pocket cost of your donation significantly. Today, we hope to grow our Respite Care Giving Society, which is an annual commitment providing security for respite care in years to come. I'm sure that many of our current Giving Society members are tuning in, and we want to say thank you for your commitment and your confidence to support this important work. I invite you to join me to make sure that respite care is here for families now and far into the future. To kick off today's donations and pledges, I'm excited to announce a leadership gift to inspire all of us and help respite care reach its fundraising goals. This generous group has collaborated for years to support respite care, and to each of you, thank you. Thank you for leading our efforts today and to raise this critical funding to support our mission. If you are opted into text, you recently received the giving form and a message. You may also text the word respite to 50155 and use the form on the program website to donate. On the form, you will see 2 options at the top under Choose Your Gift. To the right, you have the option to make a pledge. The first 3 options listed allow you to join the Respite Care Giving Society with a 5-year pledge of $1,000 per year or more. Your contribution will go toward unrestricted operating funds, but here are some examples of what your Giving Society pledge will help us provide. The Gift of Rest is a 5-year pledge of $1,000 each year, which is about $83 a month. A gift at this level would help Respite provide nearly 60 hours of childcare. The Gift of Rejuvenation is a 5-year pledge of $5,000 per year. This pledge will help Respite Care provide ongoing hiring and training of child care specialists who make respite care a safe home away from home for kids. And finally, the gift of renewal is a 5-year pledge of $10,000 per year. As our community continues to return to normal, families will need more child care. A pledge of this amount goes a long way in helping us return to full programming. Joining the Respite Giving Society is one way to make an impact. However, every single gift of any size helps Respite continue helping families. Scroll down to find the option to create your own pledge amount, and you can even select the word change to choose the end date for your pledge. If your gift is $1,000 or more per year for 5 years, you will join the Respite Care Giving Society. You may also use this option if you prefer to set up a monthly payment for your pledge. To the left on the giving form, you will see options to make a one-time gift in the amount of your choice. Contact us to let the team know if you have ideas or questions, want to increase or extend your current pledge, or want to make a contribution with a different form of payment, and our staff members will be happy to help. Please take a few moments to finish up your pledge form, and then we'll wrap up. We deeply appreciate any support you can provide. Thank you for taking the time to hear our stories and to learn more about our mission. If you would like to share this program with others, this video and the donation forms will be available at respitecareinc.org. Thank you for joining us to help Respite Care grow better together.